Hello everyone, and welcome to my 6th video. Today we are using yet another versatile Swift class called NSDate. With NSDate, we can retrieve our iOS device's date and timestamp and display it via a UI label. We will also learn how to convert this data to a string by exploiting the constructive methods in the NSDate class. We will encounter some problems along the way, but then we can reminisce in our knowledge of the NSTimer class to help us out. Let's get started. We can go ahead and open up the Xcode application and go ahead and click on Create a New Xcode Project. You know the drill, this is going to be a single view application. Click Next, and I'm going to call this Date Time. And again, you can call it anything you want to. The language will be Swift, devices can be universal or iPhone or iPad, and make sure the box of Use Core Data is not clicked. Create it to any file that you would like to. And now we can start with our UI. So let's hop into our main.storyboard file and wait for it to load. There we go. Let's make some space. Actually, no, we need that. Yeah. And now we're going to drag a label. And we can just center it. And then again, let's change the orientation of our scene and size. So the size, again, will be our iPhone 6, 4.7 inch, and the orientation will be portrait. And center the label. And then drag this out to make it a little bit big. Then we will also drag it to the side. And then center your label. And I'm going to go for a preferable font right here. You can choose anything you would like to. Let's go for a thin style. And then the font can be custom. And then we'll go for Helvetica. And the size is okay, it's 17, and just click Done. Now we can change or add our label to our assistant editor. So open up our assistant editor. Now we can add the label to the code. It's taking time to think. Okay. So now we can control click and drag our label. And just call this our label. And make sure it's an outlet connection and hit connect. So that's all we need, and we got all our outlets set up. Now let's actually make our label display our device's date and time. So in our view-to-load function, all we have to type is, and this will be kind of tricky, but I can explain it to you the best I can. And we will type label.text, and of course this is a string, but we are going to type this, nsdate formatter dot localized string from date, and this seems like a lot, but let me explain it now. So the NSDate is actually an object. It's not a string, but our label.text needs a value of string. So how can we possibly do this? Well, the NSDate formatter in its method called localized string from date, you guessed it, it turns the date into the string. So that's how we are able to set our label.text into this value that we are about to set. So our date value will be just NSDate. This just takes the date from our device. And the date style, which will be, you'll actually see this in a little bit. Let's just go for a medium style. So this style just means like if you want the month, the day, the year, all that stuff. So you can have a long style, a short style, or no style at all if you just want the time. And our time style, we will also do medium style. And let's go ahead and build and run this, and you can see what happens. Alright, so you can see this. February 16, 2016, the time is 5 hours, 31 minutes, and 58 seconds. And let's go ahead and change this up a bit. Let's go ahead with long style. And then we'll change our time style to long style. And you can see this. See, now it has like what time, Eastern time, that's what we are. And then the long style for the date just writes out February instead of just FEB, the abbreviation. And now if you just do no style, I think you get the point, but you can just test it around yourself to see what's happening. So you see just the time pops up. But I just want to keep it at Let's do medium style for both. Okay. And now I'm going to ask you a question again. So what happens if you want the timer to keep on running, right? It's just stationary now. We can actually do this with our handy NSTimer functions that we've learned about in past videos. So let's go ahead and write this code. Okay, so in our view.load, let's write an NSTimer. And NSTimer.scheduled timer with time interval. And if you don't know what this stuff is, I've explained this in my previous videos, so go ahead and check those out. And the time interval, I'll just go through this quickly since we know what this is. Selector should be the name of our function. I'll call it update time. User info no. Repeats true. And now let's go ahead and write our function called update time. And now in here, we will just cut and paste. And let's go ahead and build and run this and see what happens. Alright, we got errors here. Let's fix this up. And I'll come back to you when I fix this. Alright, so I found the error, and it was actually in the selector parameter. If you see, our function was supposed to be called update time, but I foolishly called it update timer in this one, so just take away the R, and then it should build and run perfectly. Alright, so now you can see our timer is actually updating perfectly. So let's wait for it to get to 5 minutes and 43 seconds, and you can see it completely works. So this is really cool. But I have one last thing to show you right now. So if you see many alarm applications that developers create, they actually use NSDate methods because they want to get the date from the user's device and then maybe play a sound when a certain time is reached. We can also do this, and let's go ahead and write the code for this. So it's going to require a simple if statement. You can use a ton of if statements in your applications. So we can actually just type if label.text, and I'm actually going to keep the simulator up here. Well, actually, I can't, but okay, let's just see the format. So to make this convenient, I'm going to take away the style for the date. So let's just turn it back to no style. And now I'm just going to comment this out just to run it to make sure everything is still working. Alright, so our time's working. So what I want is this. I'll uncomment this. If our label.text is equal to 5, let's set it to a time close. Let's go for 5, maybe 45. If the time is 5:45, and let's do 15 seconds, and then PM. Then, and we're going to have to do our Boolean operator, so double equal sign. Then we're going to do a simple print statement that says wake up. Odd time to wake up, but let's go ahead and run this. Alright, so we're going to have to wait for a couple of seconds. And while we're waiting for a timer, please leave a comment down below if you want to see any special video that you would think would help you in your programming skills or any applications that you want to make. But our timer is approaching 15 seconds, and just keep an eye on the console right here where my mouse is because something's going to pop up. And look at that, it says wake up right here. So now you kind of got a hang about how alarm applications work, and it's actually really cool. So the NSDate object is really powerful. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.